Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today we are from sixth group. We want to presenting about assessing speaking. We have four team like me, Rafian, and the second Adam, the third Rosi, and the fourth Dinda. And the first material will be presenting by Rosiana. The topic is imitative. And from Rosie, the time is yours.
Slide-nya bisa kok nggak jalan ya. Slide-nya nggak ganti. Halo.
Udah terlihat terus PPT-nya.
Udah, tapi nggak yang next-nya slide selanjutnya nggak bisa ganti.
Sih sebentar ya. Udah muncul.
Udah.
Yang mana dulu kamu? Ini tak ini?
Sebelumnya. Sebelumnya lagi. Nah, udah. Itu tadi. Slide nomor 2 tadi. Ini sudah. Ini ulang dah. Langsung aja ya.
The time is yours, Rosie.
Okay, thank you. Speaking is a productive skill that can be directly and empirically observed. Those observations are invariably colored by the accuracy and activeness of a test taker's listening skill, which necessarily compromises the validity of an oral production test. So in this presentation, we will discuss about basic type of speaking and micro and macro skill of oral production. Next. For the basic types of speaking, there will 5 types. There is imitative, intensive, responsive, interactive, and extensive. First, imitative. Next. Imitative at one end of continuum of types of speaking performance is the ability to simply parrot back an imitative, a word or phrase, or possibly a sentence, the appropriate assessment.
I'm sorry, Rosie, we can hear you.
Next slide. Oh, okay. For designing assessment tests, in imitative speaking, there are word repetition tasks. A phonologically focused repetition task is justiciable as long as the repetition task is not allowed to play a dominant role in the assessment of overall oral production. And as long as you are able to wisely avoid negative back effects, such as range from word level to sentence level, usually with every single thing in focus on the specific phonological criterion in a simple repetition task. In a simple repetition task, test taker remove a stimulus, whether it is a pair of words, a sentence, or perhaps a question to test to intonation production. So in the imitative, in the word repetition task, the test taker will hear a, a sentence or a word that will be diucapkan oleh administrator or teacher, and then the test taker repeat the word. A variation on such a task prompts test taker with a brief written stimulus, which they are to read aloud. In the section below on intensive speaking, some tasks are described in which test taker read aloud longer text. Scoring specification must be clear in order to avoid reliability breakdowns. A comment from scoring simply indicates a 2 or 3 point system for each response. Next. And then there are font pass tests. Font pass test. It refers to reading aloud, repeat sentence, say word, and answer the question it involves. The step is that are part A. Test taker read aloud selected sentence from among those printed on the test sheet. So in this part, the test taker will be read aloud some sentence, and then in the part B, next slide. In the part B, the takers repeat sentence dictated over the phone. In the part C, the taker answered the question with a single word or a short phrase, or 2 or 3 words for sentence. For instance, would you get water from a bottle or newspaper? In the part D, the test taker heard 3 word group in random order and must link them in correctly ordered sentence. For instance, was writing or my sister or a letter. In the part E, the takers have 30 seconds to talk about their opinion about some topic that is dictated over the phone. Topic center on family preference on and choices. The test taker on parts A and part B of the one pass test do not extend beyond the level of oral reading and imitation. Part C and D represent intensive speaking. See the next section in the section E is used only for experimental data and does not figure into the scoring. The font pass finding could signal an increase in the future use of repetition and read aloud procedures for the assessment of oral production. Because a test taker output is completely controlled, scoring using speech recognition technology becomes achievable and practical. So then, next slide. Designing a segment task in intensive speaking. There are 5 task in intensive speaking assessment. For the first, uh, direct directed response task. In this type of task, the test administrator elicits a particular grammatical form or a transformation of a sentence. Such tasks are clearly mechanical and not communicative, but they do require minimal processing of meaning in order to produce the correct grammatical output. Next, read aloud task. Intensive reading aloud tasks include reading beyond the sentence level up to a paragraph or two. This technique is easily administered by selecting a passage that incorporates test specs and by recording the test output. Uh, next, next slide. And then direct response task. The test administrator elicits a particular grammatical from a salah. And then a sentence dialogue, completion, task, and oral questionnaires. Another technique for targeting intensive aspect of language requires the taker to read dialogue in which one speaker lines have been omitted. The takers are first given time to read through the dialogue to get its gist and to think about appropriate lines to fill in. Then, as the teacher or test administrator produce one part orally. The test taker responds and then picture cute test. One of the more popular ways to obtain an intensive and broad level of spoken language performance is a cute stimulus that require explanation from the test taker. Pictures may be very simple, designed to elicit a word or phrase. Some
Thank you very much for presenting, Rosie. And the next material will be presenting by Tinda about responsive. And Tinda, the time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Rafian. Okay, responsive. Responsive assessment tasks include interaction and task comparison, but at the somewhat limited level of very short conversation, standard greeting and small talk, simple requests and comments, and the like. The stimulus is almost always a spoken prompt in order to preserve authenticity, with perhaps only one or two follow-up questions or retorts. A. Mary. Excuse me, do you have the time? Job. Yes. 9:15. What is the most urgent environment problem today? I will say massive deforestation. Okay, the next slide. Interactive item.
Sorry. Alhamdulillah. Monggo Tinda bisa dilanjutkan.
Interaktif Mas Adam.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time. And the next material will be presenting by Mr. Adam. The time is yours.
Interaktif Raffian. Interaktif bukan ekstensi.
Interaktif. Nah, oke. Ya, itu mana? Itu ngono dong, ayo dong. Iku mang. Adurunge. Nah, yo. Mata. Interaktif. Nah, yo iki. Yo. Oke, the next material is interactive. The difference between responsive and interactive speaking is in the length and complexity of the interaction, which sometimes include multiple actions and or multiple participants. Interaction can take the two forms of transactional language, which has the purpose of exchanging specific information, or interpersonal exchange, which have the purpose of maintaining social relationship. In the three dialogues cited above, A and B were transactional and C was interpersonal. In interpersonal exchange, oral production can become dramatically complex with the need to speak in casual register and use colloquial language, ellipses, slang, humor, and other socialistic conventions. Next. Okay, here are some framework for oral proficiency testing and how they work. The first, warm up. This is there is four stages. The first, warm up, the second, level check, and the third, probe, and the fourth, wind down. The first is warm up. The interviewer direct mutual introduction help the test taker become comfortable with the situation, oppressing the format and reduces anxiety. Example, how are you? What's your name? What country are you from? Let me tell you about this interview. The second, level check. Through, through a preprint QS, the test taker respond using expected form and function. Example, uh, how long have you been in the city? Tell me about your family. What is your major? How long have you been working at your degree? And the third, probe. In this phase, test taker go to the height of their ability and extend beyond the limit of the interviewer expectation. Through probe question, the interviewer discover the text taker proficiency at the lower level of proficiency. Probe item may demand a higher range of vocabulary and grammar than predicted. At the higher level, probe item will ask the TT to give an opinion, to recount a narrative, or to respond to question. Example, what are you goal for learning English in this program? Describe your academic field to me. What do you like or dislike about it? And the fourth, wind down. The interviewer encouraged the text taker relax with some easy question, set the TT mind at ease, and provide information about when and where to obtain the result of the interview. This is the part is not score. And then before I forget to say if the probe linguistic target criteria are scored. That's enough for me. Next.
Enough?
Enough. Thanks.
Oh,
Thank you,
okay.
moderator.
Thank you very much for presenting. And the last material will be presenting by me. Extensive monologue, extensive oral production, thus include speeches, oral, presenting, and storytelling, during which the opportunity for oral interaction from listener is either highly limited, perhaps to nonverbal responses, or ruled out altogether. Language style is frequently more deliberative. Planning is involved and formal for extensive tasks, but we cannot rule out certain informal monologues such as casually delivered speech. And there is extensive communication is normal, some sort of monologue. Example includes speech, and I think it is one thing to survive having a conversation with someone in a second language. You can rely on each other body language to make up for communication challenge. However, with extensive communication, either the student can speak in comprehensible way without yelling or feedback, or they cannot. In my personal experience, the typical ESL student can do this in a convening manner. For example, my vacation in the mountain and the second are received for outstanding pasta primavera. And there is a micro skill and macro skill. You can reading 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and maybe enough. And maybe that's it for me. And for us, maybe our team can menambah sedikit or enough for presenting today. Persiana, Pindah, Adam. Mungkin menambah sedikit atau cukup? Cukup ya? And thank you very much for all of you to watching our presenting. We are so sorry and promises if we have some mistakes. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam.